Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem.
Good morning. Welcome to today at the races at Pimlico Racecourse. Naomi Tucker, happy to be joined as often by Keith Fustel. Keith, how are we doing today?
We're doing well. The rain looks like it's exited the building. It's out of here right now. Sunny skies. A little humid, though, out here on the set this afternoon, but we'll take it over that rain that we had yesterday.
I think it's going to be a warmer day. We are off the turf. We do have a fast main track. 8 races on offer today. And, of course, let's get started with our headliner, the Rainbow Pick 6 carryover.
Yes.
It has continued to grow. And look at that, nearly 900,000.
I love it. 900,000. They bet over 100,000 again into it. What, 60% goes in to be paid out, right? And then 40 goes back out of what was bet if we carried over. So, yeah, you've got a major target here at Pimlico. Yeah, there's the Belmont Stakes. Who needs that when you've got the Rainbow Pick 6 at Old Hilltop?
I mean, do want to get involved, of course, the Rainbow Pick 6. But if you want to watch the Belmont, that is possible here as well. But let's first go to the Stronach 5 sequence. So starts right here at Pimlico, race number 8. Then we go to our friends at Gulfstream Park for race number 6. Santa Anita, race number 3, as well as Golden Gate Fields, race number 3. And we finish things off down in Florida once more. Leg E, Gulfstream Park, race 8. I created a ticket. I'll run you through it at the end of this show. And as I highlighted, the Belmont Stakes coming up. Now, I know that you're dismissing it here, Keith, but you can watch the Belmont Stakes at Laurel Park and Pimlico, and even today, advanced wagering options are available.
Yeah, I mean, I've got bigger fish to fry, Naomi, but no, every year they put on a great show here at Laurel Park for the Belmont Stakes. So take advantage of everything we have to offer. Absolutely reserved seating available at Laurel Park in the Silks simulcasting room. So yeah, tickets just $15.
Yeah, and we have our own stakes action coming up not too long from now on June the 13th. A couple of stakes there. Very much looking forward to hosting those stakes here at Pimlico, because we are indeed continuing the meet here. This is the start of the summer meet at Pimlico. Of course, a couple of changes because we are renovating the track.
Absolutely, renovating the track at Laurel Park. A little curveball for everybody to deal with, and kudos to the whole team and all of the trainers, grooms, you name it. They're handling it with grace and style. I tell you, it's been tough, no doubt, to pick up some of these guys. Got to move 40, 50 horses. It's not an easy task, but it looks like everybody's getting settled in, and we're ready for a little summer meet at Pimlico.
Absolutely. Things are heating up here for sure. Let's have a look at the track conditions as highlighted. Fast main track. We are off the turf because we did receive a fair bit of rain overnight.
Yeah, we got a lot of rain. I know I live a little bit, about 15, 18 minutes north of here, and it torrential downpours yesterday.
Yeah, I have a fair share of rain where I live
Were you?
too, which
Yeah.
is Alexandria, Virginia,
Well,
so a
which you
bit
like-
further
you're-
down
yeah.
south. But still, yeah,
Like
the
a
rain.
plane ride away from here, aren't you?
Something like
Yeah.
that. I need a helicopter,
Yes.
actually. I think that would be very suitable.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, glad to have the 8 race card on nonetheless. Do check out all the scratches and changes. A couple of scratches because we are off the turf, but in general, fields held together. And of course, we're very excited to kickstart the Stronach 5 sequence once more in our nightcap race number 8. Let's get started with race number 1. As always, the start of the early pick 5 sequence, one of the lowest takeouts in the industry, 12% with Stronach Group, with Express Bet, First Bet, all our official wagering partners. Just so easy, and a good sequence coming up once more. I know, Keith, you went for the early pick 4. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's have a look here at that first race, claiming 10,000 mile and 16 the distance. And let's start with your top selection in here, Keith. The number 1, Blue Sky Painter. We have a video of him 2 starts back. Now came in here off the 1 start off the layoff, but look at him there. He actually started to make his move a little bit around the 5 furlong mark because they just weren't going anywhere. There wasn't a strong pace, and then he made an aggressive move.
Yeah, and that's what the jock had to do. Xavier Perez, who knows this horse quite well, and they were walking up front, went after it, got the leaders, and it's about five wide, turning for home, 3 deep. There's your comment, but moves to a slim lead, just can't get it done. Bohemia Channel's going to beat it by a nose, but all in all, a very good effort. Sometimes when you got to push the button a little too soon, it comes back to get you in the last little bit. But take nothing away from this effort. This was a really strong effort from Blue Sky Painter. Stepped up, sloppy seal track last time, and I thought the track was going to be off today, honestly, this morning when I started. Then I found out I had to readjust a lot of handicapping. I came back to Blue Sky Painter. I originally had Greek Prince as a price, just knowing the way the track played inside was bad. Those couple days when we had the off track, I'm going to come back to Blue Sky Painter here on a fast track. It keys up against Titans Will. That horse has run well in open company.
I love that angle because actually, for all the listeners out here, Keith very rarely changes his picks.
Yeah,
I think this is the first time.
It'll come back and get me.
Yeah, I've had you see changing your picks, so I like that. I use Blue Sky Painter myself underneath. I end up going with Lost My Voucher on top. Might get some pressure from Martini Lane. Took them all the way last time. I had to clear that. Norman is a 2 life condition. He's a bit of a tricky individual. Every time he loads, they have to open the front gate.
Yeah.
You just make sure to keep him quiet, but once the gates open, he's tenacious. And I like the sort of progression I've seen, that he's getting back to some of his better figures now.
They came home quite well last time. He had the advantage. The inside was very good on May the 21st, May the 22nd. So rode the best part of the race. Is a second-time gelding as well. Reported second-time gelding. So could improve off of that gritty effort last time. And Greek Prince, I think, is going to be part of the pace flow. Even with this, being an a fast track, I'm going to ride this horse out much better than last. And it's pretty quick. I mean, wouldn't surprise me that horse is able to kind of steal away. We'll see.
Yeah, I use a Greek Prince myself underneath as well because it has his work cut out, though, because I think there is a little bit of pace pressure from the 6 Martini Lane as well, who also cleared his non-win as a 2 level, but hasn't been able to get many wins in his career, though. Perhaps that's not as attractive, but he has an outside draw with some speed. Perhaps Grant Whitaker can kind of guide him to a nice position and not use too much too early. As we'll move to the second race on the card. This is an off-the-turf event. Mile and 16, it will be on the dirt now. And Keith, you and I kind of use similar horses in here. We'll start with your top selection, aside from the fact that, of course, we'll go to your early pick 4 ticket first.
All right, let's go to the early pick 4. Why don't we? 6 and 7 to get you started. These look like the chalks in here. Daybor is going to be a very short price for Kieran. Kind of gets the wish maybe, right? Off the turf targeting. He's slick like that Kieran. You got to watch him when he enters his horses. I think he went to meteorology school back in the 80s, and it's really helped him here as a trainer. Yeah. So no, Daybor, Fairy Wish, they're going to be my 2. I'm going to spread in race 3. 4 horses, 2, 4, 5, and 6. That's the 2-year-old maidens, right? The maiden 40's going 5/8. Scratch part of the entry there. The 1, Evangeline Alonz, is out, so I'll go 2, 4, 5, 6. 3 deep in race number 4. Your favorite's going to be 2 the front. He's been, just rock solid of late. I go 2, 5. Odds on, I think, is going to offer a little value in there. We'll wrap it up. Race 5 with the 1 and the 3. They look like the obvious 2 to me. maybe see Ghost, but I think McCain's going to jump up and run better this afternoon. So there's your ticket, early pick 4, I should say, $24.
Yeah, $24 to get you started and hopefully get a bit of pocket money to continue wagering on some of the other action coming up later in the card, and of course tomorrow with the opportunity to wager on the Belmont Stakes as well. Let's get going with this second race. A starter allowance here, mile 16 on the dirt, 4 fillies and mess, 3-year-old and up. And we use similar horses in here. We just kind of flick around our top selection. You go with the number 7 Ferry Wish, main track only for trainer Dale Capuano. Now we know Dale has been incredibly strong, and this is first off the claim, and a man that's working very strongly at home as well. 48 flat for a trainer that in general likes to keep the lid on their horses in the morning, just likes to keep them handy in hand. So I'm kind of curious to see how she'll fare today, because to me that's an indicator that she's doing very well in the new stable.
Seen a couple of his horses last week jump up at good prices, just whistle. The name's escaping me with the sprinter, but just just left the field in the dust, final 1/8 of a mile. But Fairy Wish, I think is worth a look. Was beaten 5 lengths, by Dave Board, 2 races back when they met. I'm not terribly discouraged by that effort. Fairy Wish, a big effort last time, a sustainable run to win clear against a little lesser, but that improvement. And Dale with his fillies and mares, how about this? For the last 3 years, he's 9 for 30, 30%, 17 for 30 off the claim. Okay, on the main track with an ROI of over $3. So a little bit of value. Dave Board's going to be awfully short, probably in that 4 to 5, maybe 3 to 5 range when it's all said and done, because she is the one to catch.
Yeah, I use her on top because I just feel like she's projected to be the controlling speed. And guess what? That's what she loves best, to go to the front and whistle and keep on fighting, keep on going for Kieran McGee, who's been doing incredibly well as well. So I use her on top. I know she's going to be well bet, I dare say, but I couldn't look past her in this spot. I use I Love You underneath. So do you, second after break for training Gary Capuano. Decent effort on the turf last time out behind Tenacious Judy Blue Eyes, who went back-to-back wins for trainer Claudio Gonzalez. Seems better on the turf, can be decent enough on the dirt too, but perhaps not in her benefit that they came off the turf here today.
This mare, she's run some good races. I mean, yes, she hasn't won on a dry track, but she's 9 of 12 in the money. That's pretty good, and she's tactical enough. I thought she held quite well last time. I thought she was going to spit the bit a little bit the last 1/8 of a mile. She kept on gamely. She draws an inside pole. She doesn't necessarily need the lead, and if Dave Board kind of gets away with a little bit soft up front, it'll just carry her probably a little bit further.
Yeah, very true indeed. Race number 3 kicks off that highly anticipated Rainbow Pick 6 carryover. 895,265 in the pot to get you started. Certainly will be plenty more in it by the time race number 3 rolls around. I did create a ticket here for us today, and I couldn't find a single one. I've kind of discussed this before. If you can't find one, don't force it and try and use a couple of horses in here. Just wasn't any type in this sequence that I thought was reliable enough for me to single on, because it is of course very gutsy. Now I spread in the first 2 races. Race 3 used the 4, 5 to 6. Might want to add the number 2 6 o'clock Sarah as well, also a first time start. Of course the 2-year-old fillies, a lot of them haven't seen the race track yet. I like the 2 Trom Beta runners, just a very solid work tap, both strong works from the gate, sort of very similar. And Precocious Family for the number 4 Clouds of White, who is a half sister to Sky's Not Falling, who won over 5 furlong on his debut and was multiple stakes place, including on his second start sprinting as a 2-year-old. Sort of Precocious Family underneath, and a majority are trained by Michael Trombetta, so it helps that he has knowledge of the family. Race 4 I use the 1, 2 and the 6 furlong the distance there. In race 5 I go too deep. I use the 1 and the 3 Dig Charlie Dig. Jamie Ness, Jamie Rodriguez most likely will receive a fair bit of money, because those 2 are very, very dangerous. About 29% as of late here at Pimlico. Very, very strong. We are off the turf there. That's a mile and 16 on the dirt. Race number 6 I use the 2, the 4 and the 6 furlong sprint. In the 6 Dialing Dixie, first time starter for trainer Damon De Lodovico. Feel like a wonderful group here to get yourself going, and I think Dialing Dixie could certainly jump up to do what he needs to do to get his nose in front. A strong work tab underneath as well. Very flashy, 46 and 4 from the gate last time out on the 23rd of May. Race 7 I use the 4 and the 6, using the 4 on top here, Mao and the 16. With the 4 Walk Away Joe, trainer Dale Capuano. We already highlighted how strong he's been. Now this is interesting. This is horse that does, I feel, need a little bit of pace set up. He gets quite far back, but is another of Dale's horses that has been working well at home. And I feel like there should be a bit of speed to carry him, hopefully, and to bring him along. And then the final race, I used the 4 and the 5, kind of just like the 4 Shanghai Astoria, but the 5, tip your hat to that. I wonder what the speed is going to be like in here in terms of the setup, because of course we are 1.8 miles now on the main track. Is anyone kind of going to run away with this?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So the number 5, tip your hat to that. Kind of just might get back to that speed carrying ability. He relished 2 starts back, being close to the pace behind a tough Ratify, who went on to win at starter level, and then Replicant also came out of that race a winner, so that wasn't a bad effort whatsoever, that maiden 40 that day. I think this is a lot softer, the Mania 25 group in here. So in the nightcap, I nearly wanted to single on the 5, but ended up including the 4 Shanghai Astoria as well. $43.20 Rainbow Pick 6 tickets, so hopefully get you started. But Keith, let's dive into this 2-year-old contest. 5 furlong the distance for 2-year-old fillies, maiden 40. But of course, if they're Maryland bred, you can opt to protect them here, which is exactly what's being done with my 2 chop choices, as well as the not the number 6, the 4 and the 5 aren't in for the tag here. I think that's significant. I think it's probably indicative of that they do want to keep a hold of them here. I like the number 4, Clouds of White on top. As I mentioned when I was running through the Rainbow Pick 6, she's a half-sister to Sky Knots Falling, who won over 5 furlongs on his debut as a 2-year-old, and then was stakes placed on his second try. So sort of plenty of precocity, and the majority of her siblings have been trained by Michael Trombetta as well. And I think that helps a trainer knowing what their siblings need or prefer in the mornings. That might help you bring along a firster.
Absolutely. Into some good horses. I got that Spun Copper, Sky Magician, Street Copper. We've all seen run around here and do well. Some run some big figures, handle both surfaces. The only knock is Tromby. Mike's only 9%, 4 for 43 with 2-year-old first-time starters on the dirt. Okay, the last 3 years, 10 for 43 in the money. So that leads me to think, okay, going to be a short price. Both of these horses are going to take some place. So I'll go to the 6. I made this horse 5-2 morning line favorite just based off of the work, to be honest with you. There was a lot of horses that worked a half a mile on May the 28th at Timonium. This one ran 47-4 out of the gate. Comparatively, the top work, I think, was Whiskey and Rye, who we know is a pretty quick horse for Hammy Smith. This was only 1 tick off of that one, and Whiskey and Rye was not out of the gate. So it's a good move here. You've got the mare that was 4 for 19, one debut, and has a first that one debut. We see Derek Getz as a trainer here. These Farrier horses. Farrier will be back. I think he had to serve something from Delaware last year, so that's why he's sidelined right now as trainer. So you've got Derek Getz. We've seen this in the past. Right?
So with firsters, though, I couldn't find any data on him. So I was wondering what kind of experience he had with preparing first-time starters. Don't know if you know anything about that, but I couldn't find.
For Getz, I'm going with Farrier. This is a Farrier horse, I'm sure. So I know Tony's had plenty of luck with the 2-year-olds. He's won with the 2-year-old firsters. I know he's seen quite a few of them win down at Laurel.
That certainly works out as well. And indeed, stakes place going mile 1, second level allowance 6 furlong at Gulfstream Park, 72 buyer. Plenty to like there too, and indeed very, very flashy work. I ended up going with the 2 Trombetta runners because I like the length of the work tab in terms of the frequency and plenty of miles clocked underneath. But yeah, this is tricky, and I highly encourage everyone to have a look at these 2-year-olds in the paddock, because it is quite telling who is behaving, who's taking everything into their stride, who looks tight, fit, ready to go, in comparison to maybe some that use this as a springboard to another race to do better next time out. Race number 4. Starter allowance here, 6 furlong distance. Of course, also the start of the late pick 5 sequence for the Stronach group here. We do not have a carryover. We did have such a big carryover. What was it, about a week and a half ago, wasn't it? And it got taken out, which, completely understand. I tried. I think we all tried here. So late pick 5. Let's build up this late pick 5 carryover once more. 6 furlongs the distance. The number 2 to the front, Derek Goods here. Indeed, both of us use him in our exacta. We have a video of his efforts last time out, when indeed still under the name of trainer Anthony Farrier, and nearly stayed. That's interesting race. They didn't go fast up front, and the order nearly stayed the same the entire way here.
Yeah, I think this race you get the right horses too. Kingston Pike uplifting a pretty quick horse in his own right. The old vet, he's maybe not quite what he once was, but this surprised me. You know, coming off the 4.5 furlong race, is that he was going to be able to sustain like this, and he did. He's maintained form, whether it's at Charlestown or at Laurel. Just a stalk and pounce kind of move. He gets a target. Awesome buzz. Rode a pretty good inside on the 22nd last time with a big jump up in numbers at a big price, 21-1. I think he'll spy the one and try to kind of go on by, but in the rearview mirror, unequivocal. I think is going to get it done today. I think he fits perfectly on the turn back and distance. He's faced the right starter kind of Charlestown with sprinting as well. He's held good form, good third to Belfour last time. I think they're going to have enough flow up front. He can maybe nab to the front late, but those are the two for me.
I use an equivocal underneath as well, but I actually prefer him going long because I thought that mile and 16 race last time out was really, really strong, and then 3 back again, mile and 16. I just think that he's maybe just a touch sharper when going perhaps 7 or a mile or further, so hence I try and go against him a little bit.
Okay.
I am trying to go with the rail horse here in the number 1, Awesome Balls for Adam Ingram. JD remains on both. He's going to be aggressive from the inside. He's going to send him straight to the front. He's shown that he's capable of stalking too, and that nickel level last time out, yes, this is a slight step up there, but it wasn't as easy as it might look. We know Extra Medium has done well. Federale can hold his own. I thought, you know what, this is worth including, and you gave him a nice 6-1 morning line. I thought that was a good price that I'd gladly be a part of.
You should. I mean, maybe the people jump on, they'll see that buyer last time, but where did that come from? You know, all races leading into that, nothing close to an effort like that. Yeah, he won a 4 in life at Charlestown, 3 races back, but I still think he just rode the best part of the racetrack and loved it, and everything just clicked that afternoon. He's got to show it to me one more time because to the front is quick in his own right. He's not going to let him get too far away as long as he gets a good break.
Yeah, to the front did set slow fractions last time out, though. So just trying to figure out to see where he's going to place himself. But indeed, both of them very quick early. So perhaps Kevin Gomez on to the front, make the jockey Kevin Gomez here, might indeed try and give him a run for his money. But I take the 6-1 over the 7-5 any day.
Any day
So that's what I'm trying to do here with the upset. Race number, actually, not moving on to race number 5 because we're going to take a quick break first, and then we'll be back to hopefully present you some winners on the latter section of the card.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground on her inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Pimlico Racecourse. Keith Fusel, Naomi Tucker here, trying to find you some winners. We're on race number 5 of an 8-race strong card off the turf, but we do have a fast main track to keep you occupied with. Plenty of wagering opportunities still coming up here. Race number 5, I go with the horse on the rail, who's most likely going to take a fair bit of the wagers money here. Dig Charlie Dig for trainer Jamie Ness. Very dangerous combination. Jamie Ness and Jamie Rodriguez, 29%. I think Charlie Dig is just going to kind of cruise, sit behind them. The flow sets up for him. He's coming in here in incredibly good shape. He has been frequently run, so you do start to wonder, is he going to come back to it at some point when he has been campaigned often enough at Parks, now coming back down to Pimlico, making his Pimlico debut here. But Dig Charlie Dig, for those connections with that consistency of form, I'm on board.
If we had anybody win at this distance, it doesn't look like it. A mile and 16th on the main track. We'll check. Dig Charlie Dig. My only problem with him is that he looks to me maybe like a one-run sprint type, like he wants to run into that quicker pace. You saw last time they rolled early, made that run, and just couldn't get it done at a short price, part of the entry. McCain, I'm looking for just a complete reversal of form. He's flashed some ability in the past. I see no horses with any kind of speed close to his. I think he can get the route here. I'm going to forgive that last race. Acted up. You see the short comment. Fractious at the gate. A big field. May 15th, we know what day that was, right? So things just weren't working for him that day. He's going to go to the front, and I think he's going to go wire to wire.
Yeah, this will be his second start after a break as well. And his career best effort has come at longer distances at Gulfstream Park. So I like him stretching out here. After indeed the sprinting distances just haven't worked out for him. A freshener after finishing down the field in December. I guess in a way I would have loved to have seen him do a little bit better on his debut run.
No doubt.
Yeah, that you know, that run, his first start in 2021 would have been nicer if he did better, but indeed did have excuses, and Hamilton Smith will have him ready to fire. I like the work tab coming in here. Just a couple of longer works and sharp works in here. And Hammy, pretty decent second off the break. 16% winners, I do believe. So that bodes well for McCain. What kind of price do you think we're going to get? That we do have a fair few scratches in here. So all of a sudden, it doesn't turn out to be that 15 to 1 morning line, right?
No, nowhere close to that. But Charlie Digg, they're going to jump on it. He's going to be below even money. So McCain, can I get 7 to 2 maybe? I'm
that
hoping.
wouldn't be too
we'll
bad.
See.
I'll be on board with that. Both of us use the number 6 Sea Ghost as well underneath. Consistent numbers for a gelding who has been trying late but hasn't ever had a win. His maiden score came via a DQ when Welling got put up. Now we know that Welling is a solid allowance level runner, so not bad at all, but Sea Ghost hasn't been able to actually get his picture taken.
That's the key, and he does another one. He's going to be off the pace. He's going to make a steady progression. You know, but he may have a little advantage over the one when you think he's had these other multiple chances at the route of ground. Maybe he's just a little bit more stamina to kind of get over the top. But I think the race is going to go through the 3.
So I want to talk about the 5 really quickly. Uncle Andrew is indeed moving up here from the turf to the dirt, but Chuck Lawrence, turf to dirt, 31% winners, very, very strong, will be the main projected pace in here, is better going long, and comes out of a stakes effort last time out, which he didn't enjoy. That was sprinting on the turf. I think Uncle Andrew, just underneath, I wanted to include him because there might be a case to be made here. Victor Carrasco takes the ride as well. Moving along to race number 6, Series 6 fell on the distance, maiden 25 for the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. We see this very similar, Keith. It doesn't always happen that way, but both go with the first-time starter in Dialing Dixie.
Yeah, draws outside. Just got to be wary of kind of coming off a little slow. You'll see that, and it'll want to duck out to the outside. But I'm sure Damon's got this guy prepared by dialing in. Okay, first time out. I think about 12%. Damon, he's 1 for 10 and 6 for 10 in the money with the 3-year-old firsters on the dirt the last 3 years. But the work tab's strong. Full sis was okay. 2 for 7, topped at a 78. I think broke the maiden at Keeneland against a pretty good group. So catches a little bit of a suspect field. Spiced to red if the race was on and off track. That was going to be my selection. I love the old crafty prospector in Speightstown. You see that on the page. That got me. But, I'll go with the first. When I like a firster, I rarely pick them second. They're either going to be good enough to win or maybe run out. So I go with Dialing Dixie here, 6-4-2-1. Pliskin is going to draw play, Brittany Russell. But Lone Sid was only 1 for 5 with a 31 top. Took plenty of play, but is going to have to improve.
Yeah, certainly. I use Pliskin underneath. Spiced to red back to 6 furlong after showing plenty of speed on nearly every single occasion that he visited the race course, and a much easier group than the Maiden Special Weight Company and the Maiden 40 Company he's kept in the past. So you have to use him underneath for Robbie Bills. I remember seeing him before. He was always a little bit lighter, but downhill built, so sort of that more sprinter kind of downhill type. So perhaps today he'll find an easy group and gets the chance to break his maiden. Race number 7, starter allowance here, mile and 16 2 turns at Pimlico. Both you and I go with the number 4, Walkaway Joe aboard. Now, do you believe that you have a stat on trainer Dale Capuano as well?
Yeah, look at this guy here. Oh, Dale Cap was a little chilly. All of a sudden, the last 14 days, how about this? 5 for 11, 41% and 7 for 11 in the money with an ROI. A whopping $7.83. You talked about the race and the flow here. Walkaway Joe, he likes to lag a little bit, but a good work into this, showing maybe a little bit more life. On the tap it now might make things a little tough for Titansville, though. I'm hoping those two maybe get engaged, leaving the far turn and setting things up with Walkaway Joe, because he doesn't have that big move. It's a grinding kind of a run. Maybe he can kind of get on by late, though. He offers a little bit of value, certainly, compared to the entry and the not the entry, part of the entry scratch, but all things equal in Titansville.
I like the stat on Trainer Dale Capuano as well, because I looked at his last month figures, which is 29% winners over the last month alone, which I thought was terrific. But then you come up with the 40% over the last couple of weeks.
And with Ruiz, he's like 4 for 9 in that span. So, with an ROI of over 9. So, you hate to say in a smaller field, maybe a touch of a reach, but he's got to improve a little bit to get the job done.
And Titansville on the outside, he was actually able to rally into a softer pace, which isn't easy to do. As we mentioned before, Walkaway Joe likes a bit of a pace setup. I think Titansville will be a little bit closer than he will, but he doesn't need a setup for a win.
No.
And I like that about Titansville. So I was kind of flip-flopping a little bit between Walkaway Joe, who I feel does need to have things go in his direction, sort of in his preferred way, whereas Titansville creates his own race and makes sure to get his way no matter what happens. And Sheldon Russell aboard from the outside, I think that's a very sort of plausible option as well. You mentioned the number 5, I'm the Tap It Now, will show a fair bit of speed. And then both of us use the number 1, other things equal, for trainer Jamie Ness, who we don't want to underestimate either. Has been steadily kind of improving, it seems.
And he had dead aim last time, though. He was down inside. Track wasn't terrible on the inside on the 9th. He just didn't fire through. It's another one, a victim, maybe just not having that speed set up this afternoon. He's not going to get really what he wants. He's going to be a shorter price, though. I'm going to Tap It Now. This is a test for him class-wise. But he's got speed that works, and if this track's carrying it, he could go a long way. He's got some fight in him. This is a better group that he's been facing.
Absolutely. Be very intrigued to see how the track will be playing, because even if there has been moisture in the ground, or now we're on a fast track, the track has been pretty evenly. I've seen a lot of horses being able to make up ground or carry their speed if they were legitimate speed and had the fitness to continue. Race number 8 is our final race here at Pimlico. But we're only getting started with the Stronach 5. We are leg A of the Stronach 5 sequence, of course, across the country. Gulfstream Park is involved, Santa Anita Park, Golden Gate Fields, and then we finish things off again with Gulfstream Park. And I created a Stronach 5 ticket for you all. I did manage to find myself a single. I used the 4 and the 5 in this first leg here. Tip your hat to that, my top selection. Shanghai Astoria underneath. And then in leg B, which is at Gulfstream Park, race number 6, 5 furlong on the turf, I use Rash Malaya, who's on the rail, and she's shown a terrific turn of foot late, exactly what you like to see. I feel there's plenty of speed setting up for her, and one of those speeds is Uncaptured Heart, the number 2 who I use, and then I also use the number 8 Mystic Link, another speed horse, because I just wonder if any of them jumps up and moves forward and leaves the other one alone, that one might steal it up the front. And then my single comes in leg C, which is at Santa Anita Park, race 3, in shape of the number 3 Sunshine Babe. She just stands head and shoulders above this field, comes back at the same level over a similar distance here. She relishes the mile and an ace. She does incredibly well over these distances, and a strong second last time out behind the next out winner in Keep Dancing. So that's sort of my shot there in race. I was about to say race number 4, but it is leg D there. 1, 5, and 6, 5. My top selection in that spot. The number 5 Wild Wager, very, very speedily early, and I think he might be able to try and navigate himself a nice trip. And then the final race, I used the 5 and the 3 here. $36 ticket, the 3 Tacit Mirage. Blinkers go on for Sharp Trainer in Ralph Nix, and then the 5 Halcyon Digest, David Fox. Just solid improving figures over this distance as well. It's $36 flat ticket. Cheap ticket to get you started. It is a $1 wager, minimum wager, as you can see, so it pays to use a single in your ticket, but if you can't find them, find your way around it. Use a couple of horses in that spot. I'm hoping it will come in. $36. Good luck to everyone. We'll finish things off here, Keith. Maiden 25, mile and 8 on the main track here. This is another off the turf event. And both you and I like the number 2 Honey Island before. I still keep him in here, but let's talk about the 5 and the 4 first. The 5, tip your hat to that, might get back to stealing this race on the front. He has been forwardly placed in some of his past outings, and I just don't see an out-and-out lead type in here.
No. Maybe Honor My World, the blinkers go on, might just try to go ahead and send real hard, but the flow is just going to be comfortable. Perfect for tip your hat to that. Robbie Bales, trainer. Robbie Bales been around a long time. Has done a great job on this circuit, and even down in Virginia, he's torn it up. But I just can't. I can't see him not getting it done against this group. Maybe Shanghai Astoria has been a little bit unlucky. He's had some troubles in the past, but to be right to that, look, he runs against Sebastian last time. He's come back to win. Ratify, you talk about the race 2 back on a sloppy sill track. Robbie's deadly. He's got 2 horses in today. Both very well could be favorites. Going to be shorter price, but they certainly look like they could get the job done. Tip your hat to that. Yeah, I think he's clearly the one to beat. But I've liked Shanghai Astoria. He's just one of these horses. I wonder if he just finds trouble. He just doesn't seem to get that clean trip. But he tries.
Because he's a closer.
He's a closer. He
He
tries.
always has to try and move himself around.
Maybe a shorter field here, he'll be able to kind of navigate a clear trip today.
Yeah, I like to tip your hat to that. As I mentioned, Replicant came out of that same race. He broke his maiden. Ratify as well out of the race, broke his maiden, of course, and then went on to win once more. So it wasn't a bad form race at all. 2 starts back. Wasn't disgraced last time out, but just find a much softer group here. The maiden 25, let alone the fact that we have a fair few scratches because of being off the turf. I like Shanghai this story as well, but indeed might need to find himself a cleaner ground saving trip. But that could be the case in here. Just a lot less runners than what he otherwise would have been up against. So that might work for him. Do want to mention the 2 Honey Island. Made up significant ground as of late. Is a plotter, keeps grinding along, doesn't really accelerate, just keeps on finding. Now that's the type of horse that you like over a mile and 1/8. Now that was on a turf course. If he translate that to the main track, it might be able to work. We have seen Seville do pretty well going along here. They're out and out kind of plotter types. I remember, I think, a 25-1 shot that ended up running second because she just kept on going. Also by Seville. Not much speed, but they keep on going, and they're honest.
Gives you a little hope sometimes when, you definitely think, turf, and the trainer's willing to give this horse a shot. Now gets the opportunity, gets a shorter field, which you want to take advantage of and try to get some more money in your pocket. But willing effort last time out. Green Wave Girl, that to me was off turf if I'm correct, but the workout's not terrible on the dirt. Maybe. It's definitely going to be a stayer type with that breeding. Just how fast can he get the distance? But tip your hat to that at a mile and 1/8. Yeah, he should be able to separate around the final turn. I think he's going to have to worry about, the 4-horse wearing him down. It looks like those 2 from the final 1/8 of a mile.
Yeah, I think so as well. But of course, we have seen upsets in these maiden claiming events before, so it might pay to spread out a little bit in this final leg of the exotic wager, and of course the first leg of the Stronach 5. But we are wrapping up here with the handicapping segment, but we do have a lightning round coming your way.
Right.
Of course, we are starting the summer meet at Pimlico today. We were highlighting this before. A couple of changes. We just wrapped up sort of the spring meet at Pimlico, the Preakness meet, with a couple of leading riders and trainers, but we'll talk about that in a second. Of course, we plenty of changes here, but we are navigating ourselves around this quite nicely, and we're so fortunate to have all the better support as well. We've had record-breaking handle. It has been phenomenal, and massive credit goes out to the racing office as well for putting on these deep fields, for giving us the chance to really have to set down to work to find a winner, huh?
Talking about adjusting on the fly, the racing office certainly doing their due diligence. It's tough right now. We're in a time of year where a lot of tracks have started up. Competition for horses. We know the population's been down a little bit. So, yeah, they're working very, very hard in that racing office trying to put these cards together. And from a handicapping standpoint, they've been competitive, and that's what you want. Even sometimes if you got a 6-horse field, as long as it's competitive, that's what you want. Make people have to use more than one horse. That boosts the handle. You like that, and the handle's been just off the charts here at this Pimlico meet. And it's good to me to stay a little bit longer. I'm enjoying it. I like the change. I like the breaks. We used to go back and forth multiple times throughout the year here on the Maryland circuit. So I liked a little bit of a little extra time here at Old Hilltop.
Well, I keep saying historic Pimlico for a reason. There's so much history here in terms of the legends that have graced this track, dirt and the turf. And just walking around here, all the pictures of all the legends that have walked around. And it's been a beautiful stomping ground for a lot of the young jockeys as well, who now come out and are doing very well. One of those being Charlie Marquez, not an apprentice any longer, journeyman rider now, but shows the way as leading rider. Namely, we did wrap up the meet last week, and he came out on top. I do believe it was 21 wins indeed. JD Acosta riding the lights out as well with 18.
Yeah, JD has really been on a roll of late. He's come here and flourished. Like I said, he's worked his way. A Charlestown mainstay, has broken into the Maryland ranks and is held his own, no doubt. But Charlie Marquez using that, I guess, apprentice weight to his advantage. Now we'll see as a journeyman what he will do. But I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, we've seen him progress throughout the months over here and continue to ride well, to place his horse in the right position, to make sure that he gets a clean trip. And it's not always easy. You're riding against a tough jockey colony here. We've definitely got a fair few strong riders. And talking about strong strong riders. Of course, we also have mainstay trainers. Claudio Gonzalez wrapping up yet another meet title here. You can just see him walking around there. And that was, I do believe, during Preakness week. Of course, had plenty of stakes starts. We also wish him the best of luck tomorrow in the Jaipur, the 6 furlong turf sprint race up in New York with completed plats. I do believe Angel Cruz is riding, so of course we'll be rooting for the home team.
Yeah, don't think completed pass can't compete. He's a really good turf sprinter. Now, he's had some times where coming out of the gates has been a little bit questionable. They have to work with him. He had a tough trip last time, a little slow start, hung 5-6 wide in that big field, but still game to the wire, good buyer as well. But yeah, there you see Claudio. My selection, Kieran
strong
best.
second there with
like
10
bets.
winners. Yeah, I mean, we know that Claudio has a terrific full barn of horses, and it can be aggressive in the way of his placement. But yeah, securing yet another meet title. Congratulations to everyone that's part of his team. And we're moving along back to the jockey colony, because there is a milestone coming up for Xavier Perez, closing in on that 1,000 win. Only 2 more to go, and gets 3 opportunities today at Pimlico.
He gets a real good shot in the opener. I know that with Blue Sky Painter, especially back on the fast track where I thought this was going to be an off track. He gets a dry surface this afternoon, and that's where his top figures come from. He'll get a good ground saving trip, try to eye things, hopefully things set up in front of him. Yeah, pulling for the X-Man.
Absolutely.
Done a really good job. Yep.
We are counting down to that 1,000 winner. Hopefully it will be here at Pimlico, a track that he's done so well. And of course with the partnership of Jerry Robb as well.
Yes.
That probably would be extra special, as that will do it for us today. I will be back this afternoon to hopefully pick you a couple of winners. And up next will be Dave Rodman with all the scratches and changes for today's card.
Good luck.